Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Miles, and I'm live on YouTube. I usually don't do a lot of YouTube videos because my platform is Facebook. But, you know, since I saw this ignorant video by Ricardo, oops, hold on. I want to apologize. If you see all that dust, that's not dust, it's diatomaceous earth because I don't like silverfish. Mosquitoes. I don't want bugs in my home. So I have it all like I doused my entire apartment with it because I have like what do you call it? Delusional parasitosis. I always feel like something's crawling on me. But anyway, so I want to respond to this video. His name is Ricardo. Oh, what's his last name? He's just so unimportant to me. I can't even think of his last name. I think it begins with an I. Um, Give me 1 second. I'll tell you his name because I want to make sure that I have this information correct. And I do want to say for the record this is an extemporaneous speech. So that means that I didn't prepare for it. It's totally ad-libbed. Let's see. Give me 1 second, everyone. Okay, it's Ricardo Ignacio, I think it is. Ignacio, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Anyway, so he's some kind of socialite and he interviews people on race issues, this and that. Now, there are some things, because I always believe in just being fair in my assessment, in my evaluations of a person's education, research, etc., just to see where they're coming from, right? And just to be fair, there are some things that he say that I actually agree with, right? That, colorism is a real thing and this country is definitely founded on anti-blackness. Now, he is correct on that, I will say. So, see, I'm being fair, but there's a lot of things he does say that sound good, but in truth, but if you were to skim all of the fat, it's actually false, okay? So, for example, he keeps interviewing mixed race people and saying, oh, society sees you as black. Well, first of all, Mr. Ricardo, you don't have the qualifications nor credentials to make such an asinine statement. Okay, so let me just go through my education, and then let's compare notes here, because credentials are very important, right? You wouldn't go in court representing yourself unless, well, some people do, I should say, represent themselves pro se and pro per without having a law background, a law degree. They just go in there and make complete fools out of themselves. And there's other people that can handle their own. But for the most part, if you don't have a law degree or some kind of like conversance on law, you're not going to walk into a courtroom telling the judge what the laws are. If you do, you're going to learn real fast how far that's going to get you. And that's not a compliment. Well, it's the same thing with me. When it comes to social issues, especially when it comes to like race issues and stuff like that, research, that's where I come in. So my background is, and you can see my videos because I'm a very transparent person. I have an associate's degree in human services, graduated with honors. I have a bachelor's degree in social work, also graduated with a laudable GPA, having a full-time job, running my own art business, and I still did pretty good considering all these other things that I had going on with my life. I also have a master's degree in education, school counseling education, graduated Kappa Delta Pi honors 3.94. I also have a master's in criminal justice legal studies, just graduated this past January with a 3.93, and that program was not easy, very challenging. Not only do we learn about criminal justice, but half of the program was all about criminal law. They teach you how to think, like a Socratic thinker, I should say. They teach us how to think like an attorney without being one. So we learn a lot about, playing the role as a criminal defense attorney and learning about different writs, rules, procedures, motions, legalese, you name it. Okay, primary and secondary sources of authority. Okay, different legal philosophies. Oh yeah, I mean they teach you how to think like an attorney, like to become a Socratic thinker, right? Well, that was a very challenging program. Now, I'm currently almost finished with my third master's, which is a master's in legal studies. It's different from my criminal justice because this covers more like civil law, contract law, family law, things of that nature. Amazing program. But I'm going to be finished hopefully in November, if not January, the latest, because I have 2 classes left. I just actually finished my semester, so I have 2 classes left. So I'm going to have 2 graduate degrees in law. They're 2 graduate legal degrees. And I will tell you, okay, coming from a legal background, that a lot of what Ricardo says is false on his face. It sounds good. That's the whole definition of paralogy and sophistry, right? A person that's paralogistic, they'll say things that sound good, but they're not aware that it's actually flawed. And a sophistic person is a person that knows that what they're saying is not true, but they're very persuasive in their arguments, and it sounds good, it sounds credible, it sounds believable, it sounds plausible, when in fact it is deeply flawed. Well, he's one of those types of people. He's what I call an ultra-crepidarian, which is a person who purports to have an expertise when in fact is the polar opposite. And an ipsedixitist is a person who pushes an agenda in spite of proof showing that it's not true, but they keep doing it. Now, he's one of those types of people. So if I were to say Ricardo exudes acrasia, which means a person that they know that they're wrong, but they'll still keep doing it, he would be the first person that's on the list. He says a lot of things that are not true, and he wants the message, whatever he's saying, to align with his narrative so he can feel better about himself. Very insecure. And I will tell you, coming from a very strong research background, that what he is saying about mixed race identity and treatments in this country is absolutely false. I literally have, and it's on my Facebook, okay, because I always believe in coming with receipts, right? I have over 600 empirical research. I'm talking about quantitative, qualitative, deductive, inductive, what else? Temporal, spatial, and even through, what do you call it? Call it meta-analysis, right? That all pretty much conclude the same resultant outcome. And that is not to say mixed race people don't face discrimination, because all people of color do to certain levels and degrees, right? In certain places and spaces. So that is true. I mean, I would be the biggest fool on earth to say that that doesn't exist. It definitely does, but it is nowhere near what Black African Americans experience. And I'm talking about Black African Americans that have phenotypes that parallel or look or resemble the original West Africans that were brought to the Americas. Yes. And we're not going to play stupid like you don't know what I'm talking about. Now, for those that, think that they're experts, whatever, I challenge you. Name one tribe in Africa that looks like the young man that he interviewed on his podcast yesterday. I can't think of one. And I've been an anthropology audatic researcher for over 25 years. I can't think of one. Okay. So Ricardo, you need to open up a book. It's not pretending that you're an expert, because you're certainly not an expert, and learn the value of research. Research has the plenary power, Ricardo, to change public policy and law. In fact, a lot of personages from the ABA and AMA confer with legislatures, persons in Congress about research findings, the resultant outcomes of those research findings. And a lot of times those research findings influence the formation of laws, statutory laws. Yes, so research has that power. Your opinion, Ricardo, is derisory. It's Lilliputian. It has no power to change anything. Maybe in your little delusional world, but in the grand scheme of things, it has absolutely no power whatsoever. And then you mentioned in your video that this young man, you just see him, that people in society will see him as a light-skinned black male. Really? I mean, not to say there's anything wrong with that, but there's no such thing as a light-skinned black person. That's an oxymoron, sir. Our original African ancestors, because I'm half West African and half European and a little bit of Middle Eastern, never came to the Americas with light skin, light eyes, and silky hair. Never. Far from it, sir. Those features, light skin, light eyes, loose texture hair, comes from mixed ancestry. For example, Lupita, right? Now she's from Kenya, right? I do believe she's from Kenya, but raised in Mexico, whatever. But in terms of her genetic markers, she resembles the people that are in those regions, right, of Kenya and West Africans. Dark skin, 4C hair. Those are usually, and dark eyes. Those are usually the features that are the quintessence of Black sub-Saharan. Okay, dark eyes, 4C hair, and dark skin. That's the quintessence of Black sub-Saharan features, right? Light skin, loose textured hair, light eyes, that comes from European ancestry or other ancestors mixed in, right? Sometimes you can have what do you call it, a gallimaufry of different ethnicities running through your DNA. Could be Native American, could be European, could be Asian. I mean, it could be a number of things. But my point is that our ancestors, when they first came here, did not look like that young man. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Again, you're just being ignorant because you want to be right. And you think by having all these people, I believe that you think by having all these people side with you makes it right. No, it does not, sir. That's the whole definition of logical fallacies or ad populism, is where because it's a popular belief, oh, must be true. Oh, the water must have made me sick. Unless you have proof, corroborative, cogent, unsaleable, and dispositive proof that that is true or that is the case, you have no case. Your case is null and void. Your case is summarily dismissed. But anyway, where am I going with this? So I have over 600 research studies that show that mixed race people, I'm talking about in general, now of course there's exceptions, but I'm talking about in general, do not experience the same level and degree of racism that Black Americans experience. I'm talking about when it comes to police profiling, access to fair housing and education, political incumbency. What else? Even serving less prison sentences compared to someone else, like a Black inmate that committed the same crimes of turpitude, but serving more time versus the mixed race person that committed the same felony, whatever the felonies are. Yes, they have research on this stuff. And it goes for both men and women. Now, of course, I want to make sure this doesn't get misconstrued, that I don't support any kind of inequalities or disparities when it comes to marginalized groups of people. I don't support any of that. I'm an egalitarian. I believe in equal treatment across the board, even if I don't like you. Because even though I'm not a fan of yours, Ricardo, I still would not want to see you disenfranchised in some kind of way because of your demographic makeup. No, I would be an advocate for you. Even though I don't like you, your personality and the lies that you spread on social media, but I still will be an advocate in terms of your constitutional rights, your legal rights. I'm talking about both civil and civil liberties and civil rights. I would be an advocate for you when it comes to those types of situations. But I just think it is so cringy when you keep making these assumptions that are not even research, not supported by research. If you're going to assert certain things or, postulate certain arguments, where are your facts? Where are your research? I mean, you can't just pull shit out of your ass because, oh, this sounds good and it aligns with my belief system and my paradigmatic views. No, you have to have research. And I'm not talking about just one or two. I'm talking about several. You cannot controvert, Ricardo, over 600 research. Absolutely not, even on a good day. You cannot controvert that. And again, like I said earlier, is that research has the plenary power to change the quality of life. Your opinion means absolutely nothing. Again, maybe in your little YouTube world, in your little TikTok world, but the grand scheme of things, I mean, we have 8 billion people on this planet. Tell me, what kind of damage is your little videos going to make? I'll answer that for you. Nothing. So that's all I have to say. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but when I watched that video, you were like trying to impose an identity label on this young man because you just were feeling uncomfortable that it was not aligning with your bogus and BS belief system. I see that young man as mixed race. I'm part of society too. So who are you to say what society sees? Unless you have an evaluative instrument, Ricardo, that has assessed every single person on this planet, which is impossible, which is over 8 billion, right? You don't have, any proof of what you're saying is true. Honestly, you have no proof. Who are you to say how people perceive him? Where's your evidence, sir? You're just making up shit. Where is your evidence? I'm part of society. I never received your questionnaire in the mail. My dad lives with me. He never received the questionnaire in the mail. So where are you getting this shit from? Just making it up? Just cobbling up things as you go along? But like I said, unless you have proof, uncontroverted proof that what you were saying in that video is true, you stand corrected. I'll speak on your behalf. You stand corrected. Because I see, when I look at that young man, knowing what our original ancestors looked like when they first came to this country, he looks mixed race. Right off of the bat, mixed race. I won't even say anything differently because when I see him, I see a mixed race man. Now, he's black, but he's mixed with something else. Either Native American, white. Now, in terms of him mixed with white, I wasn't sure about that, but I definitely know he's mixed race. I just didn't know what his actual composition was. But I see a mixed race man. I do not see an African man because West Africans don't look like him, and don't even bring up Horn Africans, Somalians, Eritreans, Yemenites. No, those people, their haplogroups are not the same as West Africans. Those people are known to be mixed with North African, which are like Berbers. They're not sub-Saharan, and also Arabs, because, those countries are right next door to the Arabian Peninsula. I mean, Saudi Arabia is right next door. So it makes perfect sense why many of those groups who are multi-generational mixed race people look mixed, because they are. A lot of the ancestry DNA results show Arabian, Middle Eastern, North African. So in case you want to go, down that rabbit hole, I got you covered there, sir. So if you're going to say, oh, well, there's people in Africa that looks like him. Yeah, there are other mixed race people, sir. Just like Cape Verdeans, also known as being multi-generational mixed race people. South Africans, also known as multi-generational mixed race people. So what you need to do, sir, is get your eyes fixed, because obviously there's a lack of visual acuity. I would say visual, auditory, and cognitive acuity. Like, you're just ignorant as hell. You're not smart. You don't sound smart. Again, I know to maybe a lot of your listeners, they probably are on the same level as you, so they're going to probably see you as some kind of hero, like some kind of saint. But as a real educator like myself, I see the polar opposite. You're not intelligent. I'm sorry. There's some things you say, again, I would say, yeah, that is true. But for the most part, no, riddle with lies. Because that's what you want to believe, because you want to push a narrative to feel better about yourself, because you don't want to stand corrected by facing a real contender like me, because then all of a sudden it's going to question the veridicality and authenticity and credibility of all those videos that you have promulgated on social media. So you know what people do, like yourself? You evade people like me. You avoid people like me, because if I present the facts, I don't care what your listeners will say, how are they going to controvert it? When I have I'm going to have 3 masters. So you might as well say I have 3, because I'm going to be graduating this December. But 3 master degrees with over 600 research. Tell me anybody that's on your page or whoever your followers are that are going to controvert over 600 research, honestly. And keep in mind is, when you go through those research studies, sir, I'm talking about scholarly sources, right, that are also peer reviewed. They also have a list of scholarly references on their publications. So it's probably even higher than 600. 600, I believe, is a very conservative, safe number, but I believe it's higher than that because when you go through each individual research study, those researchers have gleaned research from other sources as well. Okay? So I'm sure it's over 600, but my point is nobody on that page can controvert what I said. Not one single person. And if they do, I would challenge them because, sometimes people just like to argue just so they can be heard or be seen because they want to have their moment. But I tell you right now is I would destroy every person that's on there with superior. And I don't mean this in a supercilious way, superior knowledge. So listen, Ricardo, you have a blessed day. And like I said, is when you block me on TikTok, you block me because I intimidate you. You're daunted by my education, and I can understand why. I would be too, because what you're saying is a bunch of bullshit. And that's exactly what it is. Bullshit.